Writing instrumental music for me, I think, happened a little bit by accident. It wasn't something I was trying to do, but here we are. I came to Nashville in 2011 and, was pursuing a career in music, playing piano for any artist or band that would hire me. Never really thought that, writing was going to be the thing I did, since especially I wasn't a singer or I wasn't writing music that would fit into the country music space or the gospel space, which is what a lot of people in Nashville were doing at the time. And I had a mentor who challenged me. He said, you just need to start putting together music that you believe in, putting together tracks that feel like is sounds that you like. And you just need to have those ready. So kind of took on his challenge and put together, I think I started with a dozen tracks or so. And what ended up happening is I thought that these tracks were going to be things that I, ultimately presented to publishers or writers or artists, and, hopefully they would want to, sing over it or something like that. But what ended up kind of happening is those tracks ended up sort of standing on their own, for good or for bad, with not a lot of space for the vocalist, and just became instrumental tracks in their own right. So the songs on this album, I think, were born a little bit by accident. I found this piano on Craigslist. Just a truck driver outside of Nashville was getting rid of it for cheap, and I honestly don't think he'd played it in probably 10 years. And so it was, you could get it in tune, but it was in kind of rough shape. But, I thought it was cool. It was an old Baldwin, and actually ended up having just a ton of character, probably because it was so poorly maintained. Like every piano hammer and key had a little extra squeak or a little extra whine to it that probably shouldn't have been there. But in the end, that just kind of helped contribute to the overall texture of the music. Ever since those early days when I was just dabbling around trying to figure out how to even make instrumental music, I've always just been the laptop hero. I didn't have the real version of whatever it was, or extra money for, mics and a studio and everything. It's just whatever I could knock out on my laptop and a pair of headphones. There's this argument amongst producers as to, what inspires great music, and is it, especially now that we've just got so many good sounds and just good technology at our fingertips, if it's even worth having the real instrument anymore. I wanted just to see if there was any validity to that argument. What would happen if I had a real instrument actually in front of me? How would that affect how I was writing and, what sounds I heard? But one night as I was, setting up the piano in the studio and just kind of running some initial tests, figuring out how to actually engineer a good piano sound, because it's, having pre-recorded piano sounds for your entire career and then now having to kind of create your own, it's just a different beast. And these were just kind of the songs that came naturally. I don't know if it's because my guard was down or what, but those songs ended up being something that I ended up really liking. So, who's to say whether it's better to have the real thing in front of you or not? Producers will continue to argue it till the end of time, but for me, it certainly inspired something, or at least a new process that felt new and fresh. I'm Roary. Thanks so much for listening.